I've got a special guest with me tonight, all the way from down the road, Fibrian Kusuma.
Thanks for having me.
How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yes, let's do it. Photo op. Yes. So we normally start the show asking like 3 simple questions to get to know you a little bit more.
All right.
For the folks out there that do not know our Fibrian, DJ Fibrian, like where you from, how old are you, and how did you get involved in electronic music?
Okay. Well, I was born in Jakarta. But spent most of my time in Los Angeles, Southern California.
How did that come about?
I just basically just growing up, and the parents wanted to have me have Western education for the kids, and
Oh, right. But you were there with your parents?
no, went on my own.
You just.
Well, they come for a visit, but
Oh, right. So how old are you then?
I was 16 or so.
Right.
Long
Okay.
time.
So you're high school age.
High school.
And where did you go? Sorry, where did you go?
Ended up in this place in Ontario High. It's like an hour east of LA.
Ontario High.
Ontario, California. Yes.
All right. Well, it sounds like Canada.
Well, it's called the same. But
And that's high school.
it was a high school, and then went to finish high school for 1 year, and then
Right.
went to college at USC
Mm.
in downtown LA. So
And what was that doing?
just college life.
No, but what I mean is like you study something in particular, right?
Oh, right. Yeah, my I have a degree in industrial and systems engineering.
Industrial systems engineering.
Correct.
Okay, we'll get to that later. But the
Sounds pretty
question
long,
was
isn't it?
the question was about electronic music. So when did you first get involved in music?
Well, I've always been in music my whole life. I've had my first band, like kids bands, when I was like in the 5th grade. I started playing piano since I was like on the 3rd grade, right? I used to play.
You wanted to be a rock star.
Well, it led to that, right? So I was kind of playing like a lot of classical music, and then I ended up, ditching piano, and I ended up playing drums, right? And
Was that instigated by your parents, or was that something that came from you?
no, it was my parents always wanted me to play piano, right?
Yeah.
But then during, I don't know, over the course of 2 years, kind of doing it, one time I was in the music school, and then on the break I saw next door kids were doing drums.
Right.
So I was like, wait a minute, I want to be there.
Yeah, I want to be the guy banging the drum.
I wanted
Yeah.
to be like, so cool, right? So that's kind of like how I got into real, music. Got a lot of the basics on the beats, obviously. That was the first time that I started knowing how to, count the beats.
And that was
the bars.
you were in a band as a drummer.
Well, after that, yeah, I started a band as a drummer, right? Since I was like in the 5th grade, and just been in and out of bands, like 2, 3 bands until college. When I got to the States, I did have a band, but it was so hard to put everybody together, right? In terms of practice time, right?
Sure.
So you're like, sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't, you can, blah blah blah. And then I remember during a
and finding the right people too, right?
oh, totally. I mean, I didn't have that problem, but then just the timing, right? So I got tired of it, and then one summer I went up north to San Francisco for vacation. I got friends out there, right?
Right.
And I remember went to the first underground party in Berkeley. Right? So
Your first, or
it was
or Berkeley's first.
Berkeley's for like Northern California first, right? So
Okay.
one of my good friends was a DJ, and the next day I bought my first pair of turntables.
Right.
Without knowing how to play.
You just love that shit. And what happened? What happened when you were at the show, like the rave party? How was that? What happened? What was the?
No, it was like a really, like the real underground house scene in Northern California.
And that's in a club type atmosphere.
It was like in a warehouse.
Warehouse.
Yeah, like a warehouse.
Indoor.
It was indoor, but it's pretty huge.
Right.
Really dark.
Okay.
There were 2 rooms. One was like playing, deep house, David Morales, type of stuff, and the other room was playing techno.
All right. So which did
Like
you,
really raw.
Which did you prefer?
Well, at that time, techno was a little bit too hard for me.
Too much.
So I chose deep house.
Right.
That's like first and foremost how I started, right?
Okay. So
That's it.
So you got home and got the decks. How long did it take you?
Dude, it's like I was
pick that up.
Well, I was up north. We were driving, right? So, picked my first mixer, 2 pairs of tables. We got some records. Just drove down, started playing, right?
Where?
In my apartment.
Oh, right. Just practicing.
Oh yeah. Just I haven't really played.
You haven't. Yeah. Okay.
That was like
still
really early. I was like
embryo stage.
19.
Okay.
18. This was in 1994, by the way. So
Right.
it was way back then. Anyways. So yeah, I just got into it, and luckily with my drums background experience, with my piano, I also play guitar, I play bass.
Right.
So I was able to pick up, to count, the bars, right?
So what was it particularly that engaged you with the music per se when you're a live musician in 1994 and you see this DJ playing? What was it?
What intrigued me was the different layers of the songs, right? Obviously, as a musician, you pay attention, right, to the guitar sound, obviously the beat, the bass, the piano, synthesizers, and they have so. That's what intrigues me, because in a band, you'll get 4 or 5, maybe 6 sounds if you have saxophone, blah blah blah. But in electronic music,
multiple.
Oh my God.
More so.
It's amazing. Right? So yeah, that's that amazed me big time. I'm like, wow. And then and I started playing as DJ.
And that but it wasn't such a complicated music back then, or it's pretty raw, right?
Well, I mean, it wasn't complicated, because I might have a music background, right? But I just like the fact that obviously as a DJ you have to find the right combination, right, between one record to the other, right? So that was a challenge for me, right? So and I enjoyed that, but it wasn't easy for me. It took me 3 months.
But that's all new music to you, right?
Correct.
Too.
Correct.
So you have to listen to that music a lot.
Yes.
Or just hope for the best.
Well, after that time, that's all I've been listening to, dance music.
Right.
Although I have evolved, right, in terms of the genre within the house music. I've gone up, way up there, went back down, and then
But that's over many years. But back then, okay, so you learned how to beat match, I guess. Is that it?
Well, the first thing first is beat matching, right? And then, I call it running, just to kind of go back and forth, right? You don't really pay attention to the bar, you're just kind of matching the beat, right?
Yeah.
Make sure it doesn't fall out, right? And back then it was still the 1200 SL, Techniques MK2, so there was no, it was all
There's
manual.
no easy way.
No. It took me 3 months
No.
to really get decent.
Well, and that's every day.
Every day, at least a couple hours a day. Like when I have class, and basically go to college, right?
Right.
Go home, do my homework, and just start spinning.
Right.
And that's when I found it's like a sanctuary. Like every time I do that, I really forget about all the other things. Maybe I wasn't supposed to, but it happened, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of carried on, throughout the course of my life. So that's like 30 years ago, man.
Okay, so 3 months after you've learned how to beat match and understand the music more, what did you have your first gig?
It was maybe 7 months too
Mm.
after. Did my first gig over at it's like a beach rave. So a bunch of, how it is, like a bunch of party friends, and one of my good friends is really into it, so he got some sound system, and hey, let's throw a party. So that was my first time. I didn't get my first gig until 3:30 in the morning,
All right.
but I was nervous as hell. But then that was my first gig. Like 7 months into.
And electronic music was very big in
LA.
LA
Oh,
at
yeah,
that time.
yeah. It was already big. Already big. It's just that it wasn't. Of course, it wasn't as big as it is now, because there was a lot of my friends were so into hip hop, but I kind of didn't really go along with my taste at that time. And there was
As
a
in
lot of
DJs.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot. I have a lot of hip hop DJ friends,
Yeah.
and there was some group that were also doing like rock and roll.
Because live music seemed to be so prevalent back then.
It was.
Was it difficult to be a DJ? Like, but your friends are obviously.
Well, there weren't that many. There weren't as many clubs as it was later, right? So that's why race was really, the key, right? If you want to get together and you have the same mind, like-minded, music, like-minded people together, because the clubs were doing either mainstream stuff like top 40,
Yeah.
but
They all were, right? Or was that the 80s? I can't remember. Maybe
that
in
was
the 90s it was
in,
already changed.
90s.
Yeah.
That was in 90s, yeah.
But then the gear was already there, so that kind of creates a different subculture of its own, right?
It was, but then
the real party scene of it, the party side of it.
it wasn't
big?
as
Was it big in there?
it wasn't as happening as it got later.
Right.
Before, to me, it didn't really take off until late 90s, early 2000.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where in Hollywood there were a lot more clubs playing, electronic music.
But like sexy house kind of.
Well, actually,
groove.
no. I only stayed in deep house for maybe about a couple of years.
Right.
Found within the same genre. I mean, within the same major genre, but then I got into an upper version of.
A higher version.
Well, which is a hard house, right?
Have we got a sample of that or not?
You know what? That was a long time ago.
Yeah, okay.
I went back down now, but then I can send you a couple later. But then
Yeah. Okay.
hard house.
Because we were going to talk about some techno tracks.
Yes.
I'm not sure what you had in mind there, but
Yes.
But okay, so the scene back after a couple of years and it's starting to grow. Were you growing with it? Were you like a full-on DJ?
Well, after college, that's when I had more free times, right? And of course, in LA there was 2 super clubs, right? But they were one is called Giant, where all the top DJs just kind of rotate every week, and there was Spunday, right? So I got into their network. I wasn't doing it as professional as all those other world class DJs, but then a lot of friends helped me to get gigs.
Were those world class DJs passing through town? The Sashes and Digweeds and all that. Was that
Every week
in that Giant or in those clubs?
Giant? Yeah, every week.
Right.
Every week. I never miss those Saturdays.
And you could get a gig there?
In the smaller room, yes.
Right.
I did once.
Yeah. But that was number 1 club in town.
Yes, it was in Hollywood. It was in.
So where were you playing normally?
Well, I played a lot of the after hours. Right. There's this promotion called Insomnia. There's this place. It's called Sky Sushi. There's this place called Red. There's also Grand Avenue up and down there. So.
And what time you kicking off there?
Sometimes I play around 1, but most of the time it's like an after
Well,
hours, you know.
Right.
So-
How is it in LA or back then? Were there people in clubs at 12 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night, or how did it work?
Well, LA has a last call for alcohol,
Oh,
right? In like the real clubs, but at 2 o'clock can't drink anymore.
right.
So people normally comes, between 11 and 12, right? But then places like Giant, normally people go to the normal club, and then Giant closes at 4:30. So I go straight to Giant, but some people go to somewhere else, and then
Right.
I end up staying at Giant. And then
Okay.
obviously, back then there's another after hour after Giant that opened, right? Which I have promoted, several throughout the course of the time that I was there, So yeah, that was
So
fun.
that was the place you were playing regularly. I don't.
Almost regular, but
But-
we move places, right?
But
Depending
those
on
places were closing at what time? 10 o'clock in the morning or something? Or
10, sometimes noon, but then there are also places that open at 2 p.m.
that's the after.
Yeah.
or the before.
That's the
Take
after,
your pick.
after. So
Take
yeah,
your pick.
that's
You gotta love that, don't you?
so throughout that time, I just kind of been evolving in my music, right? I got really started really slow, got really up there, and then went back down. I was in progressive like a lot of years, right?
Yeah.
And then started crossing to tech house and to techno, right? And
And when was that? When was Tech House?
actually, that's not until later though.
Recently, last 10
Wow, yeah, the last 10 years.
Mm.
Yeah, the last 10 years.
years. Yeah.
So I was in progressive.
Like everywhere, really. Tech House has been everywhere for the last 10 years. But it seems to be getting less so. I don't know. You think?
I'm not sure. I mean, I really don't. My genre right now is really cross, right? I have a techno basic, but then if I like some of the tech house track, progressive, some trance, even,
Whatever it is.
as long as it sounds good to me, and if I think it's gonna sound good for my audience, then
Sure.
I'll fucking play them.
Oh, no.
Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to curse. Sorry.
Go fucking ahead.
Sorry.
Anyway, excuse him for his filthy language. So you moved eventually from the US back to Indonesia.
Yes, there was a decision that I had to make. Because I was born and raised in Jakarta. I lived in LA for like 18 years.
Right.
And then I moved back to Jakarta after LA,
Mm-hmm.
And
And that was a while ago, or
that was back in 2010.
okay.
Back in 2010.
That's when Jakarta was kind of getting a bit more fun, right? I think, or maybe. I don't know. What do you
Well,
think?
yeah, like I like X2 a lot.
Oh, okay.
Right. I like. Well, my brother had a small club in Kemang that I played a lot there.
What was that
It's
called?
called 365 Eco Bar.
Oh, okay, I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else did I play?
New China. Maybe.
You know,
That's
that
in
place
Kemang.
called. No, I don't know China.
Can somebody shut that dog up? Yeah, go ahead.
So I did play at. Oh, you lost me there.
Yeah, playing in 2010.
Oh, this place called Campus. I think they.
Oh,
were-
okay,
they
yeah,
were,
yeah, yeah.
They were stadium before, and then they moved to like South Jakarta.
Yeah. I think
open.
Stadium is still open at that point. But
Was it really? Oh yeah.
And then Stadium closed a couple
Yeah.
of years later or something. Yeah.
So yeah, and then after since I've been in Jakarta, like maybe shortly after that, I was really into techno, like in terms of my specific base of musical genre that I normally play, So and I've been doing that since. So
But how did they go with your techno sound when you first arrived? Were they into techno?
not really,
No.
not really.
Hmm.
Only certain crowd that really understood like where I'm coming from and like what I'm putting out there.
All right.
There was no specific place or club where people really go into that.
No, there was no techno clubs.
No.
Progressive house, maybe.
Well, progressive house, trance, yes.
Yes.
Now, luckily, there's more places allowing you to play tech house.
Yeah, but there was all very kind of commercial. Well, in South Jakarta, anyway, as I recall.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
Whereas up north, it was a little bit more
right.
heavy hitting, but no techno.
No.
So you had to adjust to that.
Oh, definitely.
Mm.
But I play what I play, right?
Mm.
I mean, I'm an artist, I respect what I choose to play, and I expect people to also.
Right.
If they don't, then we'll just have beer and be friends.
Just leave it at that.
No drama.
You're not going to play. You're not going to play some commercial crap because they want you to.
Well, there's always times where girls just come up to you and say, "Hey, can you play this, play that?" Not tonight, baby.
Oh, you
maybe
bitch.
Tomorrow, but not tonight.
Yeah. But anyway,
So,
you had a daytime job as well, right?
Well,
Sort of. Or
when I moved to Jakarta, I started my own company to do certain things. Obviously you need to get busy sometime during the day, right?
well, you need to get some money in as well, too, right?
That's another thing,
That's
right?
the reality.
So I started. When I first got there, and of course, got into natural resources business, and
Yeah, because that's something I wanted to mention too. Like you've got a special project happening now.
oh, right now in Bali. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yes, in Bali. I came to Bali almost 4 years ago, back in late in 2017, right? So my partner and I, Kevin, which I think you also know, we developed this concept, not using a new technology, but we're trying to really encourage people to reduce the amount of plastic waste, right? And provide a solution, right, for the plastic waste that Bali and the whole Indonesia, the whole world is facing, and turn them into another form of product, which is not a repurposed plastic, but in the form of energy,
Right.
that can be useful for other applications. So we're creating a circular economy, which is going to be based in Bali, where the idea is to, of course, we're still perfecting our technology right now to make it more streamlined, easier, more user-friendly, the whole 9 yards. And what we like to promote in different areas, right? The villages, the banjars, where there's a lot of traffic of plastic, happening. We want to.
So what is it exactly? You're using like throwaway single-use plastic and making energy, you said?
Yes.
Like what exactly is the energy?
Well, there are three types of plastic that we can use. They are basically, it's called PP, HDPE, and LDPE. So basically what they are, these products such as containers, shampoo bottles, plastic bags, plastic cups, those are, the raw material of those is really crude oil. Right? So our technology will convert, we'll reverse engineer it basically, right? So bring it from a solid state, which is in plastic, and then we'll reverse it into the liquid, back to liquid. And the result is a diesel fuel, diesel petrol, and some gasoline.
Right.
From
Much of
plastic.
it? Do you get much from a ton of plastic?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
A ton of plastic, I can get 900 to 950 liters.
Wow.
For a ton.
Well, I don't know what a ton looks like, but it must be bigger than this room, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
That's easy to come by, or is it getting more difficult?
It's
People are getting cleaner.
It's kind of yes and no, right? It's going to take some time, obviously, but we work with collectors. We work with NGOs, non-government organizations.
There are a few. Are they collecting
Yeah.
this stuff?
Yeah.
I was over at Sungai Watch anniversary. Here's a big shout out to Sungai Watch.
Sungai Watch, yeah. Hi, Gary.
Nice little anniversary they had there last weekend,
Right.
or 2 weekends ago. They're doing a great job.
They are. And well, I think what they're doing is really noble, right? It's not easy. I've touched those plastic waste before, man. You know, and those guys, they're just warriors. Heads down.
Well, they're doing an amazing job, and they're employing local people as well to help them, and it's an economy in itself, right?
Correct. Correct.
So it's good for everybody.
Correct.
And they're cleaning up the joint.
Yep. Well, first and foremost, I think both Sungai Watch and us and all the other organizations, we have the same vision, right? We just want to clean up plastic, man, because it's getting ridiculous, you know?
And you're noticing a difference now?
To some areas, yes.
Well, we're going to see. It's going to be the wet season again very soon.
Yes.
And we'll see how that's going this year around.
Yes. Well, but sadly, the statistics that we've studied, right? A lot of these, more than 50% of all those waste are unmanaged. Okay. So luckily, people like Sungai Watch, they are able to trap, right, and from their catchment, you know, and then. But what about the ones that did not go into that river? You know,
they're not everywhere.
They got burned. They got you know.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Buried in the ground.
Yeah.
They're untouched. So, with our technology, with our system, we're trying to go after.
Is it? Is there money in it for them? You know, for people to collect their plastic waste and bring it to you. Is there some kind of system?
Well, there's an incentive, right? Because we want to incentivize that, of course, there's got to be something for them, right? Yeah, we do have a system.
Make it worth their while.
Well, it's worth their time.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's something that really, for them, something to look for, right? So rather than, you know, being careless, just throw shit here and there, like, hey, you know, what you collect, you know, for like a week, and once I go to different tabs, I bring it to these guys, and hey, I can monetize it somehow, right?
A couple of bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're good for the kids, right? Good for the kids. I remember I used to do that when I was a child, run around and my sister's playing netball or something. I used to go down there and pick up bottles.
Well,
you know, make
we want to encourage not just for kids. We want everybody.
Yeah, sure.
You want everybody. You know, like, I don't care how old you are. You know.
Well, there's the other ones like Paula
from Eco Valley.
Yeah, recycling bags and all that.
Yes, Paula. We've met Paula a couple of times, and I think what they're doing is they've been in the game for a long time. So I've had a meeting with her. Hopefully we can collaborate, you know, further. I think they understand more. I think on the collection side. Yeah, sure. Right.
So you can join together somehow.
That's the plan. That's the plan. We have to join with people.
And what do you do with the energy, the fuel you get? Are you getting it now? Is it already operating?
Yes and no. We're still collecting data right now because there are different types of plastic, right? So one will do this, the other one will do this, the other one will do that. But what happens if you mix it together? Yeah. So we have to be ready for all that. I know the technology works, the quality is good,
but you can't mix it.
You can, but I need to make sure. Yeah. We need to make sure there's no fallout, right?
Yeah, sure.
And
like
we need to make
going wrong with it.
Well, as far as the quality, the yield, blah blah, the whole there's the whole data gathering aspect of it needs to be bulletproof, you know.
So have you actually put it in your car and driven?
Of course.
And you've got it in your car now when you pulled up?
Well, I did it in my my partner's motorcycle.
Okay.
The other day. On an empty tank.
Right. Filled
Thank
her up.
God.
And that was like the first test, was it?
No.
Oh.
We've tested in other places before.
Now, I've seen recently there's been in the media quite a lot about this process that is involved in creating energies and the byproduct of that. Is there much of a byproduct?
Actually, there is, but then there's no waste.
Like in escaping into the environment?
No, because there is an excess gas that goes out, but we trap it back to heat up our chamber.
Right, okay.
So there's no waste there.
Right. Recycled again.
Reused.
Yeah.
On the spot.
Okay.
So there's no pollution, there's no emission.
Until there's nothing left.
Well, once there's no more fuel that can be discharged, right? That means the process is done.
And you're left with
some kind of residue. Right? And that residue, guess what?
What happens?
They can be used for two things. Either for fertilizer or for corn blocks. For
building.
Yes, well, for this.
For whatever. For bricks.
For bricks, that's it.
Yeah. Bataco or something.
Bataco.
Bless the Bataco. So that's great. Amazing. But it's still in a process, right? Still getting there.
Yeah.
Almost there.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Well, I wish you very well with that, and we all do, I'm sure, because it's actually cleaning up our environment.
Well, we wanna take our time to do it right.
Yeah.
Right, because it has to be bulletproof. Right, but all the basic fundamental aspect of the project is proven. Right, so we want to
make sure it's going to work in the real world.
Of course. Hey, man, this is going to be like a forever solution, right? I mean, it has to last for a long time. That's what I mean. Maybe not forever. Maybe, it has to last for a long time.
Yeah, well, eventually, I guess people are using different kinds of plastics or something. I don't know. Is that the option? Well, but plastic's actually good. Everyone gives it a hard time, but it actually comes in,
let me put it this
handy.
Let me put it this way.
Yeah.
As long as there's crude oil,
there
will always be plastic.
Okay. And that's the question. They reckon another 50 years there's no oil, right?
Maybe another 70, 80, 100 years. I don't know, man.
Then what do we use in paper bags?
Well, who knows at that time, right?
Silicon, probably.
But right now we need a solution for the next couple of years. That has to be,
Right.
After that, who knows? We may adjust to something else. You never know.
So back to being a DJ.
Yes.
How's your DJing going now? Like have you had much success with your DJing in Bali so far?
Well, I would like to play more, to be honest. Right? Especially the last year and a half.
Yeah.
A lot of places just kind of
nowhere to play.
Yeah, and I think we're all starting again now. Everybody. It would be nice to see the continuation of the electronic music evolution here in Bali.
Yeah.
To be honest.
There seems to have been a lot of people producing music, and at home. There's plenty of time for that.
Yes.
Well, there was plenty of time for that.
Yes, you need a lot of time to do that, right?
Have you done any producing?
Some.
Remixing?
Some. Mostly when I was in LA, but then lately, no, I haven't spent much because
You're just twinkling, what's the word? Tinkling away with your little machine there.
And of course, got family that I need to pay attention to once in a while, right? So that's... I mean, I wish I have more time, to be honest, but then...
It's more of that real world
but
stuff.
I'm not closing that chapter, right? It could be,
yeah.
Once everything is settled and...
So what are you expecting now out of, electronic music in your life? You're going to be pushing it this year?
You know what? I think we need some movements, right? That would really... put all the parties involved, like the DJs, the producers, the promoters, the remixers, the venue owners, to just kind of have more networking sessions, right?
Don't they do that on Facebook or something?
Well, I'm saying...
or Telegram?
Well, I want like something real, I want to see like Bali Music Week or something.
Oh, right.
You know,
like ADE or something.
like a WMC from I don't know if you've been, but that would be like a really cool
Miami thing.
Yeah. That would be really cool, and I think you should do it.
I think there's people that have tried that. What's it called? The Junction or something. When they put a number of shows on around the place. Or you think I should do it?
I think you should do it
down at Casera. Possibly.
Could be anywhere. I mean,
No, that's right.
You got to start small, right?
There's a number of clubs that need some help right now too. So yeah, we could talk about that. Anybody's got any ideas besides DJ Fibrian? Because Jotta's aligned, and we can talk about that. I don't know what DJs, because like that charity thing they had last couple of weeks ago, and there's like 40 DJs from all the the DJs from here, and it's just the same old guys, It's hard if you're not going to be bringing in international kind of caliber. It's just going to be the same old dudes around that you see every weekend, so it's not so special.
Well,
what do you mean? Like bringing in international acts?
Later, yes.
Oh, okay.
But from my experience, well, I've promoted several events back in the day, and you just gotta find a twist, right? Gotta find a twist, like a niche, And I totally understand what you said, right? Just a bunch of existing
the usual
old guys, and
yeah. Even if you bring them down from Jakarta, it's like that's the thing, isn't it? It's difficult. It's not like being in Amsterdam and every major DJ's in town for that week, or Miami, or we could be.
Yeah. I think you should really.
People have always talked about Bali being this next Ibiza, but it's never really happened.
I think you should really.
Well, maybe we should.
All right.
Really.
All right.
Actually, we're already doing it down there at Casera on Friday nights. We're going to give it a plug. Friday nights, befores.
Post sunset, before clubbing.
Right.
Be there.
He knows more about promotion than me. I'm just a vehicle for people's promotions. Anyway, but that's a really good night, actually. Really good music. It's not just me that's it.
No, we want to focus on like music by and we will give you like different twists,
like the good shit.
Yeah, different taste and different version, different remixes, different sound that you never really heard before here in Bali.
Amazing. I look forward to it. And besides all that, it's a good fun and great place to be. Good noodles, whatever you go.
Definitely.
That's on Friday. Don't forget. I also want to plug these guys. My new hat. They gave me a new hat. It's Palau Luxury
Chargers.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice.
Like off of the.
Here's a shout out to Deanna. I was telling her that my last cap got eaten by the dog, but I was wearing it for 2.5 years anyway. That was always a good look. But anyway, she sent me a new cap, so get onto your luxury cruises with Deanna and Palau Luxury.
Nice. Pulau.
Anyway, so Fibrian has brought in his USB too, so we're gonna play some tracks. What sort of music are we gonna play?
It's just like a full-on techno taste that I'm gonna bring to the Beat Bali tonight.
Well, just so happens that Tuesday night's our techno night.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So all night long it's going to go techno.
Perfect.
All different.
So let me warm it up for you.
But techno, there's a number of different genres within techno too,
correct,
right?
Correct.
Well, explain something about that.
Well, I mean, mine is a little bit darker than like the melodics and what's out there.
Like someone like these ladies, Charlotte DeWitt and Lens. What's her name?
Not that hard.
That's very hard.
Yeah, that's not hard. I think Charlotte is. I think I admire what she's doing. She reminds me. That's like the replacement of the new. Like it's like a new trance now, right? But it's a techno bass with a lot of synthesizers, a lot of.
It's very heavy.
Melodic, yeah. It's a lot of acid, sound.
It's like being hit in the head with a hammer.
I'm not way up there yet, you know. So I still have.
Yeah, I really like the way your techno you play generally, and it's always impressed me. And it's not banging. It's not sort of like a hammer in the head techno.
No. You'll see.
It's like a bit more sexy kind of down groove, you know.
Depending on who's dancing, right?
It changes. Is that a speed thing? Anyway, it takes quite a long, well, not a long time. It takes about 3 minutes to set all this up.
Okay.
So we're going to go to some music.
All right.
And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Good on you.
I'll see you on Friday.
But we're going to see him in about 3-4 minutes.
Stay tuned, guys. It's going to be live.
He's going to be DJing right
hope
here.
You'll like it. All right.
All right. Good.